有个安卓，调多少钱？9块7。理查德 H。
杨下好，下好。Okay. Morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good morning, good afternoon, physically. Oh dear. Oh. All right, so we'll be resuming our class now. How are you all doing? How is your day coming? How is the weather? How is the weather today? It's very warm here. We're expecting the rains to start very soon. It's too hot here in Africa. So hopefully the rain will start soon so the place can get a little bit cooler. How is the weather over there in Hunan? Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, great. So just start the class then. So today we will be looking at information system analysis, modern system analysis and design. Okay. Just 1 second. I need to get this. Out of the way. Okay, great. So, who can tell me what we learned last class? What did we learn last class? What did we learn in the last class? Anybody? What did we learn in the last class? Quickly. Anybody? Should I call names or would you rather give me volunteers? Who can tell me what we learned in the last class? So in the last class, we learned about the different approaches to information, to system analysis and design. We learned about SDLC, System Development Lifecycle. We learned about waterfall. We learned about RAD. We learned about agile methods and when to choose which approach. Yes. So today we'll be looking at the origins of softwares, because it is not all the time that every organization develop their own software. Okay. It's not all the time that every company or every business develop their own software, because sometimes they don't have the time to develop the software. Sometimes they don't have the skill or enough IT staff to develop the software. Sometimes they don't have so there's usually different situations that make them choose whether to develop the software or not. Okay. So okay. So we need to consider all of that before we proceed with our class. At the end of the class, you need to explain what is outsourcing. Okay. So sometimes these companies, they give the software development to other companies to develop. It's making that noise, my goodness. Okay, so sometimes they give, what is this sound? Someone. Skibeld said she can't log into Zoom. I'm not sure what's wrong. Maybe someone should help her do that. Or she can share screen with some, I don't know. She should try and fix that. All right, so we'll continue with the class. So at the end of the class, you should be able to explain what is outsourcing. You should be able to describe the different sources of software. You should be able to discuss and evaluate how off-the-shelf software means, and then explain what to reuse and its role in software development, okay? So we'll just go through them quickly. There are various sources of softwares for organization, just like I explained. Every business, every company, every organization have different ways they get their software, okay? So there are criteria or there are requirements to evaluate software from different sources, okay? Number one is outsourcing, all right? What is outsourcing? It means out, source. Source means to get something from somewhere, and then out, to get something from outside. Basically, that is what outsourcing means. So it means turning over the responsibility of all or some of the organization information system application and operation to an outside firm, okay? So example, some of you who use Apple products, MacBook or iPhone or whatever, you will notice that sometimes when you call the customer service or customer care, the customer service, the person speaking to you, maybe it's not from your country, or it's not from China, or it's from US, or it's from Nepal, or it's from India, or it's from Malaysia, or somewhere, okay? So you see what is happening there. They have outsourced their customer service to an outside firm. 1 second. Okay, much better. Okay, so what happens is they have outsourced their operation, the customer service operation, to an outside firm, to another company, okay? Maybe because it is cheaper, maybe because it saved them resources, because if you consider they need to train the customer service staff, they need to have a place for them and a lot of office or an office hall building for them. They need to have, you know, pay them their salary. They need, so a lot of resources have to go into customer service operation if they have the department, if they own the department by themselves. But if they outsource, they will save time and resources. All they need to do is to pay and train them once, and those people will take care of everything else. You see, there are many, many reasons why companies use outsourcing in their operation, all right? Do you understand what outsourcing is? So let's look at other examples of outsourcing. One, a company runs a payroll application for clients, okay? Payroll application, okay? Or a company that runs your application at your site, all right? Example, maybe you own a business, all right? And you have a website where people can order products, can select products, can basically you have a landing page, okay? But you don't have so much time to control or operate your web application, all right? So you give this to somebody else or another company or another firm or another person to run it. And when the product is needed, you just give the product to the person and the person deliver to the, so this is also another type of outsourcing, okay? Now, what are the reasons why people or companies outsource or use outsourcing? One, it is cost effective. I just said that earlier. It is cheaper, right? Okay, another reason is because to take advantage of economies of scale, okay? Another reason is to free up internal resources, just like I said. Maybe free up space in the building, okay? Internal resources, maybe time to train and train and train and train. But if you outsource, for example, customer service, you only need to train the company once. Then the company is responsible to train itself and its own staff again and again. So you don't need to waste so much time. Okay, you free up internal resources, all right? It reduces time to market, it increases the process of efficiencies. Okay, so now that you have outsourced this part of your company, then you can focus on other things like development, like research, like, you know, whatever, because you have given some of your work to somebody else, then you can focus on other stuff, okay? System development is a non-core activity for the organization. Okay, as you can see here, if you want to get software or an application for your company, yes, you can outsource it. Why? Because system development is not the main objective of your company. Your company is not a software development company. So you don't want to focus too much on the software development. It's okay, somebody else should develop it. We focus on running our business. We focus on doing our job. Okay, so when the software is ready, you can bring it, all right? So because system development is not a non-core activity for the organization, core activity means important. It's not the most important activity in the organization. So you focus on what your organization does and outsource system development to outside firm. All right, do you understand? So these are the reasons why people outsource. Okay, so sources of software. All right. Now, aside from giving other companies your software to develop, there are different sources of software also. Okay, it's not all the time you buy the software from a company. It's not all the time you develop the software by yourself. Sometimes you have different other sources of software. Example, information technology service firm. All right, this is an IT service firm. From the name of the firm, you already know what their job is. IT service firms are firms that provide IT services to other firms. A firm is an organization, okay? Firm means organization. Firm means company. It's another word for company. So if the word firm confuses you, just remember firm means company. It means company. It means organization. It means industry. Okay. So IT service industry or IT service company provide IT services for other companies. So my company needs a software and I need to get software I can get the software from an IT service company because their job is to provide IT services for companies like me. So I pay them, I give them my requirements. This is what I want, this is what I need. Then they give me what I need based on what I told them I need. They will develop the software for me. All right. Other sources of software are packaged softwares, okay? Softwares that have already been designed, completed, and packaged. Just like when you go to the supermarket, packaged products, okay? They already sell them in packages, in packs. It's already been measured, processed, and completed, and sealed. So now when you go to the supermarket, you want to buy, and then you see maybe a sachet of, I don't know, do you guys know what Milo is? Milo, chocolate, cocoa, or milk. I don't know what common products you guys have. It's in sachet, okay? And it's 100 grams, okay? Already measured and processed and sealed. 100 grams of cocoa or milk. But now you say, oh, actually, I want 150 grams. No, you cannot. This is what we have. It's already packaged. You cannot, add or remove or increase because it's already packaged. So there are many, many kinds of packaged softwares, just like Microsoft Word, for example. It's a packaged software already. So for example, you want a software that can do Microsoft Word and Microsoft and PowerPoint presentation in the same software, then you have to develop that by yourself. Do you understand? So if you just want a packaged software that already completed, then you can purchase that packaged software. Another one is enterprise-wide solution, okay? Enterprise-wide solution is usually just like the word enterprise. A lot of subsystems combined in a bigger system. Example, pizza. When you buy pizza have many, many, many slices, right? So just consider each of those slices as subsystem, all right? So maybe there's payroll system, there's accounting information system, there's business information system, there's expert system, there is so many, many, many systems encapsulated into one major system, okay? That is an enterprise-wide solution. Example, another example can be, maybe let's look at in a university, the information system in a university, for example, it has the library system, it has the accounting system where the bursary, your tuition fee are being paid, it has the student account, it has the student hostel, it has the student activity, it has the student academic, many, many, many subsystems into a bigger student information system, right? So that is an example of an enterprise-wide solution. So other sources of application is the ASP, applications service providers, all right? And then the open source software. And if you know the word open source usually means free of charge, all right? Open source, a lot of softwares are online and they are free of charge. You don't need to pay for it. Okay, so you just download. Maybe you want to use another software, but that software, you have to pay for the license, you have to pay for the key, you have to pay for registration, pay, and you don't have money. Okay, there's a similar software that does similar operation, but it is free of charge. So you download that software and you can use. And there are many softwares online that are free of charge. And then finally, of course, is in-house development. This is what we discussed in our previous class. You develop it in-house, you develop it by yourself. If you have the IT expert, you have the IT team, you have the IT knowledge, and you can develop it by yourself. This is the best part of having an IT sector. If they can develop it, why? Because they can develop it exactly how you want it. All right. For example, packaged softwares, maybe they have 70% of what you need. Okay. For IT firms, maybe they will develop, okay, you don't like it, you go back, to and fro, I like it, I don't like it, I don't like it, But if you develop it in-house, because you know exactly what you want, what you need, how you want, when you want, in-house development is also another source of software. You develop it by yourself. All right. So let's look at these points in details. So these are the different sources of software application softwares. Okay. Cloud computing. Okay. Application service providers. Open source, free of charge. In-house, you develop it by yourself. ERP, I just described that. Packaged software, it's already completed from IT service firm. Okay. Remember, cloud computing is a kind of is another source of software where why am I echoing? Who's talking? Where the resources and the application is online, yes, in the cloud computing, all right? The resources, the applications, who is talking with me? You may. I don't know what you may do. I can time muting. Okay. So let's continue. For example, storage, right? Previously in the past, maybe 10 years ago, you need to buy hard disks, you need to buy pen drive, you need to buy 100 gig, 1 terabyte, 500 GB, okay? Because you need memory to save your resources, to save your files. But now you don't need to purchase your hardware, your hard disk. You can just save all your stuff online. You can just save it in the cloud and you can go anywhere and use it anytime, okay? So sometimes you want to use an application for maybe, let's say, only 1 month, right? You want to use it for 1 month only. But during this 1 month, you need the software. Okay, how can I get software for 1 month? Okay, you see all the softwares online. Okay, should I build this software? If I waste so much time to build it, but I only need to use it for 1 month, right? So after I use it for 1 month, I have wasted the entire software. Okay, should I purchase it? Okay, if I purchase it, okay, I have the license, but I only need it for 1 month. So after 1 month, what happens? Okay, this is a perfect time to go with cloud services. Okay, so you use the application, the resources, the entire program online for 1 month. After 1 month, your subscription expires. Okay, so these are ways to use cloud computing. For example, if you have a Zoom Pro account, okay, there is monthly subscription, there is yearly subscription. Okay, so you subscribe, just for the amount you use. All right, and then when you're done, you leave the entire software. So these are different software sources. Okay, now I've already described it, but let us look at them again quickly. IT service firm, they help. These are help companies. These IT service firms, they help companies custom information system for internal use. They help companies develop custom information system for internal use. Okay, you give them your requirements, what you need, then they will develop it for you. So they develop it, they host and run these applications for customers, and they provide other services. Just like I said, IT service firm, they provide IT services for other companies. Packaged software, they serve many market segments. They provide software ranging from broad-based packages, general ledger, to niche-based packages. So there are different kind of packages, okay? Maybe small scale package or large scale packages, all right? We already discussed those kind of package software. So softwares run on all sizes of computers, from microcomputers to large mainframe computers, package software. Okay, prepackaged software is off-the-shelf turnkey software. That is, it is not customizable. I just described this, right? And I gave you an example, like when you go to the supermarket to buy products. Every product in the supermarket is not the same like the general market, where you can measure quantity, okay? Like you can, I don't know if it is common in China, but in Africa, you can go to the general market and you buy the quantity you want. How much gram, you can measure how much gram of sugar you want, for example, how much gram of whatever you need, okay? So, but in the supermarket, it's not the same. Everything is already measured, processed, and packaged, sealed. Okay, so you just buy exactly how it is. So you go to the shelf. Shelves are where you put the product. This shelf is for food. This shelf is for toiletries. This shelf is for personal hygiene, shelf by shelf. So you pick what you want. You pick, put in your cart and go pay. So that process of picking, it means you pick product off the shelf. So, oh, I'm looking for baby diaper. Oh, baby diaper is in shelf D, for example. Okay, so you go to the shelf D, you choose the product you want off the shelf. So it's the same with software. So the softwares are already packaged, they are already fixed. You cannot change it, you cannot edit it, you cannot modify it. It's exactly the way it is. So you just need to pick it off the shelf. You purchase it exactly how it is, okay? Just like I described for you. So off-the-shelf software are best, usually at best, meet 70% of what you need, all right? Maybe not 100%, but it meets 70% of what you need. But if you want 100%, then you need to customize it. How do you customize it? You either build it by yourself or you go to IT service firm, ask them to do it based on how you want, all right? So let's look at some of the package softwares. Microsoft, just like I have explained, IBM, okay, HP, Oracle. So these are many package softwares that are out there. All right, Microsoft Project, okay. Microsoft Project is used to, if you remember, we talked about waterfall system development lifecycle, okay? You use time frame by time frame. If you look here, the entire duration for developing this software is 19 days, okay? So the requirement collection will take how many? Okay, 1 week. After that, you go to the next phase. design phase. After that, you go to the next phase, database design, then user documentation, then programming, testing, and installation. So this is Microsoft project used to schedule your project. Okay, this is also a packaged software. So enterprise solutions software. So these are systems integrate ERP, enterprise resource planning systems, integrate individual traditional business functions into modules, enabling a single seamless transaction to cut across functional boundaries. Okay, SAP AG is the leading vendor of ERP. SAP, these are the leading vendors of, vendor means sellers or companies that sell ERP systems, okay? So this is what I explained to you earlier, like pizza slices, right? This is a pizza. So it has many, many slices, all right? So you can see executive management support system, one slice. Financial management is another slice. Customer relationship management is another slice, okay? Manage your workforce, HRM system is another slice, okay? Supply chain management is another slice. So many, many, many slices built in business analytics, okay, into a huge, a bigger system. So this entire system is an ERP, enterprise resource planning system, okay? So these are also another source of software. Now cloud computing, I've already explained cloud computing, everything is in the cloud. So the provision of computing resources, including applications over the internet. So the customers do not have to invest in the computing infrastructure needed to run and maintain the resources. So you do not need to purchase the interface, purchase the database, purchase the library, purchase the network. Okay, for example, Taobao, all you just need to have is a web server, right? You just put taobao.com, the interface will open. You can buy what you need and get out, right? And it comes to you. So everything is on the cloud. You can have your own account. All you just need to do the same thing. You can have your account, cloud computing database or memory online, okay? So everything is in the cloud. So you do not need to buy all the resources. You do not need to buy the memory card. You do not need to buy the hard disk. You do not need to buy the, you just use the application and the resources online, okay? So this is what I discussed earlier, open source software, freely available, including the source code, okay? The software is free of charge online, even with the source code. So with this, since the source code is available, you can edit the software to suit your style, okay? You can make some changes because the source code is available to you. So you can fix it to suit your style, okay? It is developed by a community of interested people, and then they made it free of charge for everybody to use, all right? So it performs the same function as commercial softwares. Now, these are examples of open source softwares that are out there. Firefox, okay? You don't need to purchase Firefox. It's free of charge. You can just download it online. MySQL, it's free of charge. You just need to download it online. Linux, the same thing, all right? So these are all open source softwares. And finally, in-house development. In-house development. In-house development, obviously, you develop it in-house. You develop your softwares by yourself in your organization, in your company, all right? So if you have enough, sufficient means enough, system development expert. If you have enough IT experts in your company with the chosen platform that exists in-house. In-house means that exists inside your organization or inside your firm, then some or all of the system can be developed by the organization's own staff, okay? This is in-house development. So sometimes you can use hybrid solutions. You get some of the resources outside and you combine it with what you have inside so that you can have 100% of what you need for your company. Hybrid solution involving some purchased and some in-house components combined together are usually also very common. So these are the sources of software, just like we have explained: IT service firm, packaged software, producers, enterprise-wide solutions, cloud computing, open source softwares, and in-house. So when do you go to these types of organizations for software? When tax required, custom, and system can't be built internally, our system needs to be sourced, okay? Now, custom support means you have special need, not the normal need, okay? Because packaged software, they always provide software for the general need. Example, typing, word editing, right? So Microsoft provide packaged softwares like Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word for your normal text editor, right? But if you have a special need, then you cannot go for packaged software. You need this to be added, you need that to be added, then you go to IT service firm. Okay, this is my requirement. I want my software to be exactly like this. Then they will build it based on your requirements, okay? Enterprise, I've explained all of this already, okay? Internal staffing requirements. So internal staff may be needed depending on application. For packaged software, some IS or user staff to define requirements and evaluate packages. So even though you purchase the packaged software, you still need your IT staff or your information system analyst or staff to define the requirement and evaluate the packages, okay? The package software, so they evaluate it. This is our requirement, this is what we need, and this is the software that we have bought. Does the software cater for everything that we need? Does the software, can the software settle all our problems, fix all our problems, give us what we need, all right? So you still need to evaluate it, all right? For complete systems that cross-functional boundaries, all right? There's some internal staff are necessary, but mostly needed is consultant. Consultants are usually experts to evaluate the entire system, not just because it's a very, very big ERP solutions are usually very huge software packages, okay? Cloud computing, for instance, access to applications when supported task is generic. So for cloud computing, you don't really need IT staff, okay, from your company, because it frees up the staff of other IT to do other stuff, because everything is online. You just do it online. You don't need anyone to help you. So open source software, we have discussed all of this. So we'll just move on to the next slide, 2 minutes. So when selecting off-the-shelf software, okay, software packages, when selecting softwares off the shelf, exactly how it is. So you need to check, there are things you need to consider. One is the cost, okay? You need to compare how much will it cost my company to develop this software by ourselves? And when you're considering the cost, how much will it cost us to develop it by ourselves? And how much would it cost if we purchase it? So which is cheaper, which is better, which is faster, which is, so you need to compare and make your choice as a system analyst. You also need to check the functionality, all right? It is important that the tasks that the software can perform, the mandatory, essential, and desired system features. So, you know, during the requirement analysis, after your planning, okay, when you start doing your analysis, before your design, you need to collect all the functional requirements, what your company needs, what the requirements are, and what the system that needs to be developed have to do, the requirements, right? So now you also need to check with off-the-shelf software. Does this software meet these requirements that my company needs? Can it do this job? So you need to check the functionality of off-the-shelf software before you bring it into your company, okay, vendor support. You also need to make sure that, okay, if we buy this software from off the shelf, can we get support if there's a problem with the software? Can we get warranty? Can we get maintenance? Can we get, so you need to make sure that the vendor can be able to provide support, and how much will it cost that vendor to provide support when you need support, okay? So you need to consider that as well, all right? Then let me just see. Okay, we will stop here and have a 5 minutes break. And we'll continue the class after 5 minutes. Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay, oh. Hello? All right. So I'll see you guys in 5 minutes. Yeah. Hello, everyone. So, can we resume the class? Can we resume our class? Hello. Wait, ni hao, ni hao. Can we start our class? All right. Great. So where were we? Open source hybrid solution. Okay, so we've talked about the cost. You need to compare your cost. You need to also compare your functionality. You also need to consider the vendor support, whether if the vendor will be able to support you when you need it. Viability of vendor. You also need to check the viability of the vendor. Can the software adapt to system changes? Adapt to changes in the system software and the hardware. So when you talk about viability, can it adapt? You also need to consider the flexibility. How easy is it to customize this software? You also need to consider the documentation, okay, of this software. Does it have good user manual? Does it have good user support? But sometimes when you buy a hardware or an application or a software, sometimes you don't know completely what the functions of the software does. Sometimes you don't know completely how to operate this software. So you need the user manual, right? So does it have good user manual? Also, you need to also check that. Does it have good technical documentation? And is it understandable and is it up to date? You as a system analyst, you also always need to check about all of these things before you make a decision, okay? You need to check the cost, you need to check the viability, you need to check the flexibility, you need to check the documentation, you need to check before you purchase a software off the shelf, all right? Response time. You need to check the response time. How fast is this software when you are using it, okay? I'm trying to remember the phone I was using before I started using Huawei, okay? I think it was Sony Ericsson, I can't remember. So what happens is when my phone gets hot, it gets really hot really fast as well. Then it becomes slow, just as simple as clicking back, then it becomes so slow. I need to wait. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to grow old and I'll have children before my phone will respond to me. So it gets very frustrating. So you need to check that, the response time of that application. So if it is too slow, then you might want to consider a different source for the software, maybe in-house, maybe IT service firm, maybe cloud. So you need to consider that. So how long does it take for the software package to respond to user requests in an interactive session? Okay. You need to also consider the ease of installation. Okay. How easy is it to install? Okay. A measure of the difficulty of loading the software and making it operational. How easy is it? Is it difficult? Is it complicated? You need to consider all of that, all right? And definitely validating purchased software information. You also need to validate authenticate. Okay, after you check, then you must validate. So when it comes to validation, there are different ways you can use to validate. Use a variety of information sources to validate. Collect all the information from the vendor, okay? Then software documentation. What are the documents about the software, okay? Technical market literature. Market literature, usually what it is, the market is talking about the software, all right? What are the user experiences? What are people out there saying about this product? So if you see right now, in the mobile market, for instance, right now I am using a Huawei mobile phone, okay? So why am I using Huawei? Because of the user experiences most people that I know talk about. Oh, Huawei P30 Pro, Huawei, it has good camera, it's fast, it's blah, 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 good experiences. And this one is using that one, uses it. So it makes you want to give it a try. And so far, since I started trying it as well, I have been pretty much very comfortable and very happy using it. So I can advise another person who is thinking of which mobile phone to go for or that. So you see, user testimony or what the market is talking about a particular product. And because of that, many people now are using the Huawei. Not Samsung is not as famous as it used to be. Huawei is conquering the market. So what are the people in the market talking about the product? So you also need to consider that before you make a mistake of getting the wrong product for your company. Okay, so request for proposal is a document provided to vendors to ask them to propose hardware and software that meets the requirements for a new system. So usually when you want to give when you want to, for example, develop a software for yourself in-house, okay, you have the requirements, great. But once you want to purchase this software from maybe a vendor or an IT service firm or something like that, so you give them your proposal, okay? In that proposal, it has all your requirements. This is what I need. Then the vendor will now propose to you, okay, give you the hardware or the software based on the requirements that you need, okay? Sometimes this is request for proposal. Sometimes it is called request for quote, okay? Now use a variety of information based on vendor bids, analysts, select the best candidate. So you request for proposal. Now this vendor will now give you a proposal, will now give you, okay, this is what you need. This is what we have to offer. This is what we have to offer. So make sure that you have different vendors bidding for the same proposal, okay? So from this company, give you their bid. Okay, this is the software we have, this is the hardware we have, this is what you need, and this is how we can fix your problem. Another company gives you another bid, another company gives. So from those bids now, from those proposals that each of these companies now bring, you now choose the best one, okay? Based on the vendor bids, analysts select the best candidate or the best candidate and then accept it into your company, all right? So information sources for request for proposal, all right? So these are what do you need what are the information sources? What do you need to know in request for proposal, all right? Vendor's proposal. You look at the vendor's proposal, okay, good. You run the software through a series of tests. You need to test each of the softwares that these vendors bring to you. You need to test them and know, okay, which is the best one, then you choose. Then feedback from other users of the vendor's product. Just right now, I told you about my Huawei phone. So what are people talking about the Huawei product? What are people talking about it? Are they saying Huawei is good? Do they have problems? Do they have issues? Do they have? Then I can choose, make my choice. Okay, what about Sony? Oh, Sony gets too hot. Oh, Sony. Oh, I hate Sony. I don't like so. Then you see, even though I may never have used Sunny, but because of what feedback from other users from the Sunny product is saying to me, maybe to you is different, but for me at the time, they are saying something, the feedback I got was not so good. So it will, of course, influence my decision, right? It will change my opinion. It will make me feel, okay, maybe this is not the best choice. But so far, everyone say, oh, Huawei is so good, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it will influence my decision. Then individual software testing services. So sometimes you can hire an expert or you can bring someone to test the product, okay? The software, then they'll test you and give you a professional opinion. Okay, this is a very good application, go for this, all right? Then obviously articles in trade publications. So you need to read what the trade publications out there are talking about that particular software. Then you choose which is the best proposal for your company, all right? And then now we come to the reuse of softwares, all right? What is reuse? Reuse basically means to use again, right? Reuse basically means to use again, all right? So, the use of previously written software resources, especially objects, components in new applications, okay? Objects, components in new applications. Do you still remember we talked about objects in our previous class? Do you remember? We talked about object-oriented programming in our previous class. Object-oriented development. Who remembers? Does anyone remember? Object-oriented development. We talked about this in our previous class. Okay, now I would want the class to get a little bit interactive. All right, so I'm going to call random names. And I'm going to call random names. So you unmute yourself and answer the question. What do you understand? Your opinion, your idea, your understanding of object-oriented development. And then give me an example of an object, its behavior, and its attributes. Your understanding, okay? There's no right or wrong answer, just what you understand about object-oriented development. You give me your understanding, your opinion, and then example of an object, its attributes, and its behavior, okay? So I will call Dorothy. Dorothy, are you there? Can you unmute yourself, Dorothy? Can you unmute yourself? All right. All right. All right. That is some echo. Okay. Let's go with Crane. Crane. Can you unmute yourself as well? Crane. Tell me what you think, your opinion, your idea. Unmute yourself. Are you there? Hello, Crane. Ni hao. Okay. How about Ahmad? Are you there? Can you try? Give me an example of an object, its behavior, its attribute, or what you understand by it, your opinion. Unmute yourself, Mr. Ahmad. Can you try? Or Crane? Any of you? Hello? All right, you all are having echoes. So I'm guessing it's probably because you have speakers and no headphones. I'm not sure why the echoes are there, but I think that's why. And all of you are sitting close to each other, so it's echoing. All right. So an example of an object.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, let me try. Object-oriented analysis and design is based on objects rather than data processes.
Okay.
Some attributes are object class. It deals with the logical grouping of object sharing and same attribute and behavior.
Very good.
The
That is part.
inheritance.
Yes. Now I want you to give me a simple example of an object and its attribute and its behavior. Just simple. One object.
You see?
Give me an example. Give me one object, its attribute and behavior. Example.
Inheritance.
Yes, inheritance is a form of object's attributes. Okay, what I meant by that is example of an object is example, Deconte is an object. Deconte is a student. This is an attribute. Deconte is a, you understand?
Yeah.
Has a name, have an age, have a class. Those are objects, attributes. Attribute means qualities or characteristics. You understand?
Okay.
There's so much echo. Okay, and then behavior. You go to class, you eat, you sleep, you walk, you run, behavior. All right, that's an example of an object. Another example of an object is, for example, car. A car has a name, a make, a model, color. Those are attributes of a car. Behavior, it can move forward, it can move backward, it can turn, it can drive very fast, it can drive very slow, it can brake. These are behaviors of objects. So now, when developing softwares, you can reuse objects, okay? For example, I want to develop a library system, right? And in the library system, obviously, my objects in the library system will be student, right? Staff, admin, and then the information system itself, right? Now, if I want to develop a information system, an application for, let's say, class system, okay? Class activity system or class lecture system. The object I will need for a class will be teacher, student, probably admin as well, right? So I already have an object created in my previous application, which is the library information system, right? So now I want to develop a new information system for a class activity information system, for example. And now I need new objects, a similar object with the library information system. So I can use again the student object in my new application. This is what it means, object-oriented development. You can use these objects again, right? Common-based, component-based development, all right? Also, example, when you are developing a robot, example, and let's say you are trying to develop a robot that looks like me, right? So you develop my head, my hands, my body, my legs, robot complete. Now you want to develop another robot that looks like, example, Chloe, right? So maybe the head might be different because the face, the hair, the looks, the eyes, maybe, and maybe even the skin can be different, but maybe the hands and the legs is the same, right? So you do not need to build that component again. You can just reuse the component and combine it to build a different system. So this is how you do reuse, based even from the object-oriented development perspective, you can reuse, and also from the component-based perspective, you can also reuse softwares, okay? So this is what I just explained. Object class encapsulates data and behavior. Data has to do with attributes and behavior of common organizational entities. Just now I used an example of students, and here is an example of employee. Every employee have a employee name, employee number, employee address, employee blah, blah, blah. That is employee data or employee attributes, right? And then employees have behavior, right? Component base can be as small as an object and as large as a piece of software that handles single business functions, right? We have also discussed components. Object-oriented development reuse is the use of object classes in more than one application. You see, is the use of object classes in more than one application. I have already discussed it. Library application, maybe example one. Another example would be maybe class administration system or something like that. So you use the same object class, example, employee, right? Employee is a class. So in this class, there are different objects in the employee class. A class is a group of objects. Remember, a class is a group of objects. Example, this particular class that I'm teaching is an MIS 19102 class, right? So this class is full of student objects. Ahmad is part of this class, Crane is part of this class, DeConte is part of this class, Amber is part of this class, Chloe is part of this class. All of you are objects, individual object, one by one, in an entire student class or MIS whatever class. Do you understand? So I can use this same class and develop a different application, all right? Maybe course code or majoring application where you can choose your major. Oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a software analyst, blah, 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 major. So you use the same object class to develop that application. Reuse, all right? We have already discussed that. Component-based development reuse is the assembly of application from different or many different components at many different levels of complexity and size, just like I described with the head, the hand, the body, and the leg. Different components, you combine it into a single component. So you can reuse those components. So what are the costs and the benefits of reusing in softwares or in application or in software development? What is the benefit? Okay. Now, if you look at this graph here, this is the development cost and scheduled resources. All right. This is how much it's gonna cost, and this is how much time it's gonna need. Right. So this is the number of projects that you already have in the past. So in the beginning, obviously, you don't have a lot of projects, right? So everything you need to create from beginning, right? So let's say you get around here. Now you have many projects that you have already done. So since you already have many projects, then you can now reuse, right? You can reuse. So if you see around this point, it won't take so much time and effort anymore because you reuse a lot of components or a lot of objects or a lot of object classes. You reuse again, so you don't need to build from the scratch. So you can see the graph does not go up anymore. It flat lines, right? Because these are the number of projects that you reuse again and again and again. So it won't cost you so much because you don't have to develop most of the components or the object classes again. Do you understand? Tintong lama, do you understand? Respond if you do. Do you understand? Okay. The content wants me to explain again. All right. So if you look here, this is the graph, right? This is a graph. This part here is the number of, this is what it will cost you to develop this application. All right, maybe time, money, and resources. This here, all right, the one going up, all right? It will take you more time, more resources, more effort. The one going on the base here, the horizontal axis, okay, is the number of projects that you already have. Here, beginning, I don't have any project, 0 project, all right? So it will cost me a lot of time and effort. You see, it's going up, right? So maybe when we get around here, now we don't have 0 project. Maybe we have around 5 projects or 10 projects or 15 projects. So now if we want to build a new system or a new application, okay, we already have many projects that we have already completed, right? So we can use some of the components or some of the objects. Again, we can reuse, okay, because we do not have to build it again from the scratch. So you see here, the graph was going up because everything we need to build from the scratch. But around here, we have already some projects or applications or components that we can use again. So we don't have to build it from the beginning again. We just need to use it again. So now instead of it going up, it's going flatline because the cost, time, schedule would not be so much anymore. It won't be going up anymore. It flat lines because we can now reuse most of our projects again and again. This is the benefit of reuse. It will save you costs, time, and resources. Yes. 1 second. Yes, who's there? So there's that. Okay. The content, do you understand now? Yes.
Sorry to disturb you. I was trying to ask if you did.
I will get back to you in 30 minutes. I'm in a class now, if you don't mind. All right, no problem. Sorry about that. Okay, great. You understood that, so we can move forward. Approaches to reuse: ad hoc or facilitated. Ad hoc, individuals are free to find or develop reusable assets on their own. Facilitated, developers are encouraged to practice reuse. Managed, the development, sharing, and adoption of reusable assets are mandated. Designed, assets mandated for reuse as they are being designed for specific applications. So these are the 4 approaches to reuse, okay? Be it in ad hoc, so you need to remember this: facilitated, managed, or designed, okay? This is the reusable level. So if you are an ad hoc, if you're using the ad hoc approach, reuse is not as high, okay? Because there's no policy for you to, or procedure that mandates you or necessitates you to. So if you want, you use it. If you don't want, it's your choice. For designed, reuse is very high. Cost is very high. So reuse is mandated. You are mandated. It's important. It's a must that you reuse reusable components, okay? Policies are put in place so that reuse is effective and can be measured, okay? Codes must be designed for reuse. So when you are designing codes in the future, when you become, some of you become software developers or programmers, so you make sure that when you are programming, your codes are reusable. You or someone else can use those code again in similar application or different application. You understand? Managed is moderate, facilitated is low. So you need to understand that. So we will use the rest of the class to answer these questions, okay? So again, does everybody know their group? So this is a group activity, again, similar to the last class, okay? Does everybody know their group? So I want you all to discuss these questions in group. I'll give you 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes, I will ask each group a question, and then one member from each group can answer the question, all right? If you don't know your group, you should ask Siren. I told you previously. So Siren will tell you which group member, which group team you belong to, okay? So look at these questions and start thinking. 5 minutes, I will ask you all to give me your answers. Okay, if you do not know your group, I will post it on WeChat right now. Check the WeChat message to see your group. Have you received it on WeChat? Is it the same? I think everyone is in this class. Or is this the wrong class? I don't know. I can't find your name, DeConte. Group 10. I only have 8 groups here. Where is the group 10? Or maybe Siren will update the group at the end. Okay, Olivia, DeConte, Innocent, group 9. Ah, okay, no problem. Okay, so group 9 and 10. So I will want you guys to discuss based on this grouping. All right, so discuss, give me your idea in 5 minutes. Your 5 minutes is already left 2 minutes. Okay, so in 2 minutes, I'll ask for your answers. Two minutes. What is outsourcing? So there are many questions. So depending on first come, first speak. If one group picks one question, the next group cannot pick the same question, okay? If one group picks one question, the next group have to go with the next question. So you choose question 1, question 2. So if I call your group, then you pick one question and you answer. Okay? Okay, okay, oh. All right. So group, I'll call your group names at random. All right. Group 3. Group 3. Group 3. Pick a question and answer. So Ashish, Van, Allison, Eric, please. Group 3, pick a question and answer. Quickly, we don't have time no more.
Hello, teacher.
Hello, Eric.
Are you listening?
Yes, I can hear you.
没有声音。 Hello, teacher.
没有声音。
Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher. 没有声音。 Hello, teacher.
So which question do you want to answer? Number what? Question what?
Okay.
Go on.
听不到，好大的声音啊！
什么？
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I will answer the question 1.
Okay, question 1. Explain
Is
outsourcing.
Turning over responsibility of some or all of an organization's information systems, application, and operations to an outside. Is okay?
Yes, turning over some or all of the organization's operation to an outside firm, company, or organization. Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Eric.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Very good. Thank you, Shishani. All right, next question. So you cannot choose number 1 anymore. So group 7. Siren, Luna, Leah, Yumei, and Lane. Pick a number and answer. Siren, Yumei, Luna, Leah, Lane. Pick a question and answer. Jayu. Go on. Unmute yourself and talk. Siren, Luna, Leah. Lane, Yumei. Or which of you is talking? Unmute yourself and talk quickly. We don't have time. Just take one question. Okay, Siren, go on. No? You may. Luna, Leah.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you listen?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. The first question. The second question.
Okay.
Social of the software. Information technology software forming. Package software product.
Okay.
Enterprise-wide solutions.
Okay.
ASPs. Application service providers. Open source software. And in-house development.
Okay. Very good. These are the 6 different sources of software. So you have to remember that. And hopefully you can remember the explanation of each of them. Okay. So thank you very much. Group Group 1. Kevin, Ashley, Violet, Uriel. Pick a number and answer. Kevin, Ashley, Violet, Uriel. Unmute yourself and talk. Kevin, Ashley, Violet, Uriel. Any of you? Kevin, Ashley, Violet, Uriel. Kevin, Ashley. Quickly, 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 quickly. Kevin, Ashley, Violet, Uriel. Just pick one question. I already gave you 5 minutes to prepare your answers for any of the question. Just your opinion. You don't need to tell me exactly what it is on the slide. Tell me your understanding, what you think. Okay, Kevin. Go on. How do you evaluate software off the shelf? What is the difference between open source and in-house? What is the difference between cloud computing and packaged software? What is the difference between enterprise-wide solution vendors versus IT firms? Your idea. Quickly, we don't have time. Kevin? Okay, while Kevin is waiting, Kevin and his group is waiting, I will call group 9. Group 9, Olivia, DeConte, Innocent.
I would check for group 9.
Okay, Tracy.
Question number 3. Discuss how to evaluate off-the-shelf software.
Okay.
Okay. You first have to compare the cost of developing the same system in-house with the cost of purchasing or licensing the software package.
Okay, cost, good.
Also, you need to check if the system have a warranty or no, the vendor support.
Okay.
Okay, you need to check the flexibility, how easy it is to use and how do you customize the software.
Okay, very good.
We need to check the documentation. Is the user's manual and technical documentation understandable and up to date?
Okay, beautiful.
Also, the response time and the ease of the installation. If it's easy to install or is difficult, you have to consider that also.
Okay, wonderful.
I guess that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you very much, Tracy. That was wonderful. Okay. So Kevin and your team, are you ready to answer now? Are you ready? Good.
I'll answer the first question.
Okay.
The free software means that users are free to run, copy, distribute, research, change, and improve the software. Open source software focus more on the actual results of lists, such as unexpected and effective cooperations in software development.
Okay.
Over.
Finish.
Yes.
Okay. Open source versus in-house. Okay, good effort. Good try. Good try. Almost there, but okay, thank you. Good try. Who else wants to try? Question 4 is still available to answer. Group. Group 8. Siren.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I want to try question number 5.
Okay, question 5. Go on.
Well, cloud computing has changed the consumption model and the service model of the traditional IT industry. Consumers have realized the transformation from purchasing software and hardware products to purchasing IT services, and they can obtain and use services through the internet.
Okay.
The packaged software is a document-driven process which divides the entire software development process into sequential stages. Each stage must complete all prescribed tasks or documents before entering the next stage.
Okay. All right. So that is some comparison between, okay, at least a little bit of this, a little bit. Okay, very good, very good. Thank you. So we're left with question 5. Okay, we're left with the final question, question 6. And question 5. Who can answer question 4 and question 6? Group 10. Group 10?
Group 10?
Olivia, DeConte, Innocent. Is that? No. Group 10, Risky, Sheikh, Ahmad, Ambrose, Mike, something like that. Group 10, quickly. Last question, then we'll end the class. Anybody? Quickly. Red Male want to try question 4. Okay, go ahead, try question 4 quickly.
Yeah, so in my own words,
okay,
the difference between cloud computing and packaged software is that cloud computing is a service that is available to the public for free.
Cloud computing.
Yeah, it's like a software.
Cloud computing is not number 4. Open source, you mean?
Yes, number 4. I said I want to try. Yeah, open source.
Yes, but open source, not cloud computing. You are saying cloud computing. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Open source.
All right. So open source software is a software that is already made and available to the public.
Okay, very good.
Yes, and
in-house.
And in-house development. In-house development is the customization of software that is being put together by your own ideas by you or your team.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. Very good. So, well, we'll end the class here because our time is over. So I want to thank all of you. Your answers have shown me that you understand the chapter. So that is good. So make sure you go back and read the chapters all over again. Chapter 1, chapter 2, make sure you understand it. If you have questions, come look for me on WeChat and I will try and answer your questions for you. Okay? So this is the end of our class today. All right? So have a nice day, all of you. See you all next week. Hi, Jen. Bye-bye. Au revoir.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.